Yeah, I've heard this song.
Can we get a cheers?
Can we get a cheers?
Cheers. I mean, the echo of life is the echo of love, and the echo of love is the echo from above, and some people don't even really know what they're doing. God
I don't know. I locked the door behind me.
I mean, can you feel this? Can you feel the vibe?
Who's
Can you
coming
feel
up
the
the
zone?
stairs?
The zone that we own, the zone that we own.
It's a creep
the zone
coming
that
up the
we
stairs
own is
right
the
now?
zone of our own. Goddamn, you can smell it.
It's a creep. Oh, the creep turned the lights off. Ooh. There's a creepy person coming up the stairs, but they turn the lights off. Ooh.
Okay.
Oh. I hope it's the cleaning gentleman.
I heard keys,
Because
so
otherwise that should be mad creepy. I'm not
it's a
really sure.
ghost.
I'm not really sure what to expect
Ghost
right
of
now.
social enterprise future.
The ghost of the social enterprise past.
Yeah.
That's fucking scary. Oh man, why is Lauren fucking sick?
Is she still sick?
She's not feeling good.
Oh my god.
Love's not feeling good.
She's not been good since last Sunday.
We had the potluck, and then she made chocolate cake with strawberries.
Aww.
As soon as she ate that chocolate cake with strawberries,
That was it? Oh, no.
Did you guys eat it too? Was this like an
We
isolated?
all ate the
Okay.
chocolate cake, but somehow Lauren is not feeling the greatest from it.
I hope she's okay.
Oh,
A whole week out though, man.
Yeah,
Hope she, yeah.
How you sound? Let me get a mic check, Steph.
Check.
Check, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Oh, mic check 1 2. Steph, mic sound good.
Your nerdiest guest.
no. There it is.
Next.
My favorite, one of my favoriteest guests,
Oh.
because you know more about this social enterprise shit than I think I've met from anyone who knows this social enterprise stuff. So I'm very excited for you to
Yay, well,
come talk your
thanks.
shit. And you're coming back like in a couple of weeks because remember that Tinder Girls Talk episode that you texted me about when I was in Scotland?
Are you on the Tinder too?
I'm not on the Tinder, no, but
No, but she has a friend. Do you want to tell the story?
sure, yeah. So I think she'd be okay, you know, unnamed.
Don't tell her name.
I won't say
Yeah, don't tell her
name.
name.
She'll know who she is. She, obviously, she has been married for, like 15 years now. No. She's been with her partner for 15 years, and they got married in their early 20s. She's 30 like me, about to turn 30. And she decided in the last year or so that she wanted to open up their marriage and just see what it's like to date other people, because she's been with her husband now since she was in grade 8, so like 15 years.
Yeah, that would do it to you.
Yeah, you know that always that what if?
Yeah.
What
Okay.
am I appealing to other people? You know,
Right.
Yeah. Those basic questions. So she started doing it, and she loved it. And her partner was a little hesitant, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to do this." And he got into it as well.
Okay.
And they were going okay for about 2 or 3 months, and then it all just blew up.
Uh-oh.
As it does.
Yes, as it does, you know.
Yeah, that's a Tinder for you there.
And I'm trying to think. He was just not okay with how involved and connected she was getting with another person.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So, I listened to some sex podcast recently. Uh-oh. Well, actually, not even that. It was The Read I listened to.
Yeah, it's okay.
And there's always a situation where something like this happens, and then the guy's like, oh, that other dude is fucking her better than I am. Or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then
Pretty much.
Is bigger than mine.
and then they're like, oh, and it never seems to work out. Or, like someone either likes each other more than the other one, or like,
Yeah.
it just never seems to work.
Yeah. I've in my Tinder experiences, I've met people in open relationships, and I'm like, the last thing you want is for me talking to your girl who's in an open relationship. Because I'm just gonna be real with you. The shit's gonna go down, and if no comment. Gentlemen, do not let your lady on Tinder, if you're in a relationship, if you think you're in a
actually, you know what? That's it. In this story, the guy was against it. So.
And she did it anyway?
Well, yeah, you said she convinced them, right?
She convinced him. Yeah. And he was originally like, I'm not sure. And then they both ended up doing it. And, they both had a rough time meeting people to begin with because Tinder, like with Jillian being a girl on Tinder, she got like 750 likes on the first day.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, whoa, I'm amazing. Like, look, I'm so hot. Like, all these people liking me. Yeah. And then she'd swipe a couple guys or whatever. And then they'd all like decline her because you can reject people after. Right. And she's like, oh, these guys are just swiping everybody. And then I'm getting caught up in this. And then she's like, kind of feels dejected. And then, she had tried to have a couple of Tinder dates, which were like, guys were saying like, meet me at your apartment, meet me at my apartment. Yeah. And stuff. And she's like, I haven't even met you before. I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
No.
And then her partner, Chris. Oh, I said his name.
We'll
censor both of these names. We'll bleep both of these names out. Don't worry about it. We got you.
Her partner, bleep, was having more fun than her and was having more success.
So he...
And he was doing better. So there's tension there.
This sounds terrible.
I know. And then it got to the point where she met someone who was... pretty good in the sack.
Okay.
And things are going really well, and he was getting very jealous, and so they had to cut it off, and they thought that they were going to break up their marriage of 8 years, and
over some Tinder dick?
Basically. I know.
You're going to be back on for the all Tinder episode.
Okay.
Because because Lauren was like, Steph, you messaged me over when I was in Scotland. You're like, I have a friend who's on Tinder, and I can't believe this is the shit that women say when they're on Tinder. Oh, his neck is short, but his smile is nice. I wonder what kind of guy he's.
I'm fascinated by this. I am fascinated.
They swipe so fast. Like, being a person who's never done online dating, and I've been with my partner quite a long time. Yeah. It's like they're like snap judgment.
Oh man!
On some picture that could be the worst lighting. That person doesn't even look like that.
I feel gross just listening to that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
They're just making a decision on you. And there would be comments like that. I'd be like, how did you even see him? And she'd be like, no, his neck was too short. Or his haircut was weird. Or the most random things.
Are you old enough to remember the Hot or Not website?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go on there and I got my confidence shaken pretty badly. I imagine these... Tinder is kind of like that, but worse. Except you can actually have sex with the people, and they're not just judging you.
That's true. Worse rejection.
If you can have worse rejections than Tinder, then damn it, apparently Duane has scouted them out.
Well, just the Hot or Not thing. I just remember that.
Well, I know people who've gone online to these websites, kind of like Hot or Not, where you get people to vote on your image so they can pick the best image that's crowdsourced for their Tinder profile.
Oh,
there's an option within the Tinder profile where you can upload all of your favorite photos, and then Tinder will test all of your photos to see which is the best photo that should go
that's
first.
Interesting.
So that you can then get the most swipe. Because let's be real. It's like with Instagram. You might have 9 pictures posted in that one post, but if that first one's not good, we're not swiping to the second one. So in the online dating world, it's very simple.
Yeah.
It's very similar. Let's try to figure out the best photo so that people can engage with this person the most. And goddamn, who knows what happens next? But that's not why we're here.
Sorry.
No, it's great. We're here because the great Steph Pronk is here. Hey, Stephanie Pronk from Common Good Solutions / Social Enterprise Institute. She is here because, as you've also heard, Lauren's sick again.
Yeah, poor Lauren.
I'm a scab for Lauren.
That immune system.
A scab?
Yeah. Like in the union, when union goes on strike, there's those temporary workers that come in and cover.
She is in Lauren's seat. She does have Lauren's mic. Steph, you're a scab.
I'm a scab.
You're a scab. Just don't pick the scabs because they'll bleed and your wounds won't heal properly. Welcome everybody to the Changing the Narrative podcast, episode 40. 8. Yes, where we are here to provide transparent and unfiltered discussions around navigating life as aspiring entrepreneurs from the voices of men and women living in Atlantic Canada. Each week we talk pop culture, race, business development, politics, gender equality among the youth leaders of the artistic and entrepreneurship community. Just have to say thank you very, very, very much to those who are providing the statistical database information on Apple Podcasts to prove that people are indeed listening. Mm-hmm. That shit is important. Thank you to everybody on YouTube and on the Facebook for viewing, because it's not just about listening to this through your earphones. It's also about watching it. We're a video production company here at TTM, so we're providing video use for you all as well. And because the most important part is that those of you who are listening through Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So for those of you who are not on Spotify, please subscribe, stream, download, listen on Spotify. It's probably where most of the people who are listening to things through their headphones are. Even if you don't have an Apple product, you probably have Spotify. If you don't have an Apple product, you don't have Apple Music. So those of you who are using Android devices probably have Spotify. Just find us on Spotify. Just fucking download, subscribe. The shit will pop up every week. It won't just be there. You don't have to look for us. So, the wink and the gun. You guys remember the wink and the gun from Freshman Spiller?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Oh,
the wink and the gun?
I definitely do.
Don't forget the wink and the gun. That's just more important. Welcome to the show. What up, Steph?
Hi.
What up, Wade?
So,
How y'all doing this evening?
good. Yeah.
See, that's how you know Dwayne's done 2 episodes today. Because usually he'd be like, "Oh, I'm not doing good at all." Because usually he just walks in the room just like, "I'm not feeling good at all, man. Fuck this shit. I'm ready to get out of here." But he's already got 1 episode in, so he's feeling a little bit better. So he's in his groove. He's in his bag.
Yeah, I'm a little warmed up.
You're good? You got the juice flowing?
Yeah.
Steph.
I think I'm feeling like Duane normally feels,
Okay.
But I'm okay. I'll get into it. This is my first podcast ever.
You've never done a podcast before?
No.
So here's the thing. It's like talking to me at work, except Dwayne's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everybody on
He's
the
just
internet
watching.
is also here.
Yeah, okay.
So just
Didn't have to say that.
I know, but it's true.
I
so
know.
just pretend like it's just the 3 of us. That's why we've got our headphones on, because it doesn't sound like anybody's here. It's just like the 3 of us.
It feels
true.
more
So
intimate.
we're all like locked in within each other's space. So
Cool.
that's what I want you to focus on.
Okay.
Just Steph Pronk be here because you're a social enterprise guru. And a lot of us, especially, I think the goal here on the podcast is to combine, if Par would stop coughing in the background because she's sick and now she's touching everything. The goal is for artistic people to figure out the strategies, tools, tips to turn their art into a business. I think a lot of artistic people would benefit from the social enterprise business model because it's beyond, ooh, you're making money to like make money. So I have felt, and this is why I'm so sad that Lauren's not here, but it's fine because you're here. But I really want to get into the social enterprise conversation because it's something that I work here at Common Good Solutions, and you too work here at Common Good Solutions. And there's a lot of people who even are in this building who don't know how to describe or explain what a social enterprise is. So what I want is for people to understand, what is the social enterprise? The best ways to tap into social entrepreneurship to kind of turn their thing into something that's not just a business, but does provide opportunities for other people. I also want it to be a really cool place for people to learn about social entrepreneurship and like what it is and like a term that they've like just like glanced over and glazed over, to get a bit more information like what they can do with social entrepreneurship and like where they can move forward. So that's why you're here, coming back for our Tinder Girls episode. So
I'll be there.
I look forward to you there. But in the meantime, we're going to really get into business development from a social lens.
Yeah. Cool.
You're a member of the CGS team, Social Enterprise Institute team. Can you Who's coming up the stairs? Hey. Oh shit! Goddamn, Brielle Frazier's here.
Mr. Brielle.
Fucking Brielle Frazier. Brielle's here to take some photographs. Y'all see these photographs? They're gonna get posted later on, but I'm just glad Brielle's here. Brielle, you need some light back there, Papa? You good? You good? You need some light? You good? Good, Brielle. Mr. Frazier's here. He gave me a thumbs up. We all good. So, before we get into like some like long talk, Steph, who are you? How did you get involved in social entrepreneurship, and like what the fuck is social entrepreneurship?
Okay. Oh God, it feels that's like a life story question.
Well, that's why we're here. Go.
Okay. So I am. What am I? I don't know.
You're my boss at work.
So you get very philosophical. I run the Social Enterprise Institute, which is an online training platform for social entrepreneurs like you, Terrence, like you, Duane, to help them learn the business skills that they need to run a business that's primary focus isn't on doing the business stuff. It's on doing the thing that you care about, the art or the social stuff or the cultural stuff. And we just try to make it as accessible and easy to use and quick as possible. And how that started was through a company called Common Good Solutions, which I've been with now for 7 years.
Yeah.
We were talking about earlier from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And that organization was started for the very purpose of making social enterprises and helping them grow. And it was started in Lowell, Halifax, and Kingsport in Nova Scotia. By Andy Horsnell from Kingsport and Dave Upton, who also actually lives there but now is in Halifax, who had been working in social enterprise, and another word for it is community economic development for quite a while.
CED.
Community economic development. And there was not that much going on here in this province. There was some stuff, but they thought, let's put a stake in the sand. Let's do something specifically around social enterprise, because we'll probably talk about later. It's one of many tools that you can use.
For sure.
So they're like, let's specialize. Let's do that, and let's see what can happen. And through their work and our work, as people have joined over the years, it's exploded. It's exploded.
What about social enterprise has made people be like, ooh, this is cool, plus explosion?
Yeah, I think it's less about, any marketing efforts that we had or whatever. I think it's like word of mouth. But I think why it resonates so well with people is that they see that business is just a tool. They don't have to take on the moniker of business person or, I'm going to be like, I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie, The Wolf of Wall Street or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like there's not this one brand of business, and you don't have to live it and be it in your entire life. You can just use business as a tool like it was created for and meant to be, to do all the cool social, environmental, and cultural stuff that we want to do out there.
Yep.
And I think that resonates with people. They're like, oh yeah, business isn't bad. It's just, I can use this and it can help me keep this thing afloat that I'm doing and help it grow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you got into social enterprise, like how?
It was kind of funny because I was a business grad from St. Mary's.
Okay.
And I had done a bunch of co-op placements and worked at places like I worked at places like Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, the Food Inspection Agency, like random jobs here and there, but they were all just placements. And so when I finished my degree, I was thinking, what am I going to do? Applied for all these jobs, had some interviews like the CRA and at the dockyards, and I was like, I don't want to work any of these jobs. They suck. Yeah. So I literally Googled work in Halifax. And the first thing that came up was the Hub Halifax.
Yeah.
Just like an old co-working space where all these amazing social entrepreneurs who didn't call themselves that at the time were getting together, working in the same space and doing things from trying to capture, carbon dioxide in concrete to like trying to fish sustainably to trying to get more people to bicycle on a regular basis.
Right.
And there was like dozens, hundreds of them that had passed through the doors of this place. And so I said, I just want to work here and see what all these people are up to and what they're like and like get inspired. And so we found a grant and I started working there. And that's how I met Common Good Solutions, Dave and Andy. And they hired me after like 6 months and the rest is history.
Boom.
Boom.
And then you became a part of this social enterprise ecosystem of like business development. And like what's the social enterprise kind of landscape look like here in Halifax and in Nova Scotia and even in like Canada kind of more broadly?
I'd say it's growing tremendously, and it's something that I don't think people had a name for before.
Okay.
I think like if I can step it back a bit,
Do it.
it used to be called, it's called social entrepreneurship in terms of what we're thinking about and what we're talking about here. At least people, running businesses to do a social or environmental or cultural good. But the original version of it was called social enterprise. And it's a little bit different in that it's about employment for persons who've been marginalized. So employment for persons who have disabilities or who've been previously incarcerated or whatever. Social enterprises started in like the late 70s as a way for nonprofits to say, hey, listen, we're trying to get these people employed. We're having a really hard time. We're just going to take matters into our own hands and we're going to start the businesses that employ them. So deal with it. And so they'd start the cafes or the woodworking shops or the whatever to get them going. And then over time, more and more people really like this idea. It's like, oh, I love this like self-empowerment. Like you don't need to rely on grants kind of deal to make shit work for you. Right. Just start a business. Just start a business.
Right. Yeah, just start one. Yeah.
But from there, it's sort of grown and gained this momentum over years, and mostly in the last 5 to 7 years, I would say, where more and more people are graduating university and not learning about this thing, but then finding out about it and saying, that's what I'm going to do with what I know. It's like this perfect timing that's happening where there's this like, I don't want to say collective conscious, but there's like this collective consciousness that, we have to work to preserve our environment. We've got to be more thoughtful in how we run our businesses. We've got to be nicer to our employees.
It does feel like that though, in a way.
Yeah.
It feels like at the same time, a lot of people are starting to think on that wavelength. It's interesting.
What do you think that's about, Duane?
You know what? Maybe I think it might be the thing that people actually hate. And that would be people who have had bad things happen to them complaining and saying, this is bad, let's change it, and not stopping until people listen. And I think people have now finally started to listen. And then you also have like a new generation who are coming up with that being programmed into them from an early age to be considerate of. For instance, my kids in school are learning about Indigenous rights and things like that already, instead of having to learn it old as adults or whatever. So, I'm wondering if that has something to do with it.
What do you think the most important piece in like the social enterprise story in its emergence from either not being something that people knew about or like it being something that people are doing but like didn't know the term around it? Like what do you think the biggest things that are kind of coming from the depths and rising to kind of the surface are around social entrepreneurship?
I'm going to take a guess out on a limb, and I think the 70s and the emergence of women in the workforce in a really strong way had a first big push to it. That's totally a guess. I have nothing to prove that, but most social enterprises are run by women. It's like 60-something% from
Why
a couple different things. Why do you think that is? I don't want to make generalizations about a gender. It's going to get me in the deep end. But I think that women are more cooperative. I think that they're more nurturing. I think that when they see problems affecting people, they can sometimes be more deeply affected. And on the whole, I want to say they're less competitive. But like, put Lauren and me together, I don't think, you would say that. But I think for a variety of reasons, maybe the whole nurturing aspect, that women see a lot more purpose in doing this kind of work, and it's meaningful enough to them to influence them to start a business, which is pretty hard. So
it's interesting. That's interesting. I'm trying to think, like, almost like, okay, so I called you a boss. I think, I don't know if we had started recording it.
Lady boss.
She's lady boss.
And you were kind of like stepping back. You were like, almost like, I'm not a manager.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, yeah. A little bit. Where you going with this?
I don't know. I'm trying to avoid making generalizations too. But would you say that that kind of thing, or it's okay? So I listen to a lot of female-centered podcasts like Girl Boss Radio, and they have a lot of women leaders come on to speak, and they often talk about how men are socialized to not shy away from, I'm going to make this a decision and boom, and be unapologetic. Personally, me, I'm the opposite of that. It was nuts. I'm not that type of dude, so I don't relate to those kind of guys, but I understand socially that's what we typically see from men. And women are generally more like how I generally feel, where you just said, not the manager, blah, blah, blah. I'm wondering if that relates to like the social enterprise thing too, where it's like, yeah, I want to make money, but I only want to make money because it's going to help other people, and not just me.
And is it you that made this argument in previous episodes about like men will walk into a room and be like, I want to raise, and I want to raise for this, and this reason. And then typically women will walk into a room like, I want to raise, and they'll be like told no. And they'll be like, all right, fine. And kind of like not put up well, yeah, but it's because of this, and this. I feel like
It wasn't me, but I've definitely... That is something that I've heard said.
That like men will argue for their role in whatever position, and women traditionally, and I'm using air quotes here because I don't want to paint a whole gender of people, but it's like typically men will go after what they want and be much more unapologetic about it, and women tend to not do so. Do you find that to be the case?
I would say generally, I think yes. There was this great meme that was circulating. I sent to Lauren on the weekend, and it was like all the situations where you're with a male coworker or like boss in the workplace, and how you try to work around, challenging them. So there would be like, he'd be like telling you an idea that you had told him 2 weeks ago, and he's presenting it as his own. And you'd be like, oh yeah, that's great.
Right.
Some good thinking. And really you're thinking,
asshole, I thought
it 2 weeks ago. And I think maybe, generally we're socialized to be a little bit more softer and apologetic. There's also the statistical side of it. And I've been hearing this research, and I don't know where it came from. I've heard it like a bunch of different times on different podcasts and stuff, saying that the more egalitarian a society is, and one that doesn't necessarily push gender roles very much, the more that on the whole, on average, men and women will tend to gravitate towards traditionally male and female roles. So there's this
interesting
research from Sweden that says, more women are enrolling in nursing than ever before, in proportion to men, and more men are sticking out and going into engineering and more of the traditional roles. Is that legit? I have no idea where that source is coming from. I've just heard it a bunch of different times.
It's interesting.
So it leaves me with an interesting thought. Are there on average, basic tendencies that we have, or is it impossible to split the socialization of a person with what they end up doing?
Is it impossible to split the what was the word?
Socialization
of men and women in this state? That's a good question.
I don't know.
I mean, we're actively fighting it,
right?
On some level,
right?
Like, for instance, I often in my household get put in a position to say challenge something. Something goes wrong with something. We agreed to pay for something. Duane, you got to call them and tell them they fucked up. And I'm like, I'm not good at that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I've just gotten used to.
Yeah.
I have to be the one to do it.
and that would be a gender role.
But
call and complain.
Right.
I'd rather, and this is funny because in my experience, don't ask me to call and complain to no one because I'm telling you like it is, and we're not getting anything positive out of this situation. So in my mind, I'm like, well, traditionally, I feel like there a level-headed woman brain could call up such and such customer service and get the outcome we're looking for. But hey, no, you call. Well, no, we're not going to give what we want. So I think that's very interesting in terms of just like the roles in which men and women are placed in to like accomplish the things that. Yeah.
I generally end up being told I'm too nice in those situations, but I like to use honey to get my results. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'll tell you, I had a client not pay me once, and I was like, being respectful and can you please pay me, blah, 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 and send another reminder. So Natasha's like, did you call that person yet? And I'm like, yeah, I've been calling them. They're not picking up. She got on the phone and I got paid.
Nice.
So
I paid that day.
That's why I'm just like, I don't like when she makes me do that. But I feel like in her experience growing up, like her dad generally does those kind of things. So I think she's socialized, even though she doesn't necessarily, she might not agree with that.
Right.
I think she's socialized to think that that's what I'm supposed to do. But I think she's fucking 10 times better at that shit than I am.
Right. What is it like being a lady boss in a world that's typically not run by lady bosses?
I feel like I'm lucky enough to operate in a bubble because Dave Upton, our co-founder, challenges Lauren and I as both lady bosses, just like he would another peer. And there are moments when he's softer and he sort of sees us as like his granddaughters as opposed to coworkers. But in the heat of a moment,
how do you feel about that?
Oh, about that part? I like it because I like how much this feels like family working here.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like Dave always says business is always personal, which I'm like,
nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it is really beautiful. At the same time, like he gets very emotional about things. He gets very angry about things. Right. But but it is personal. It's your life. It's the majority of the time you spend in the week. Doing stuff and. You got to really care about who you work with, and if you love who you work with, which I certainly say I do.
Wow.
And I feel that most people that work at CGS feel the same way. It makes it even that much easier to speak up when you have something on your mind, to put someone in their place when you feel like they're doing something that's not going to help them or the business. So yeah, I think I'm in a bubble a little bit, and other people may not be in the same situation, other women who are leading.
So you feel like you got a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, totally. I've gotten a step up because of Dave. Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you think that helps or hurts you in your career future and like your business development future?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think it helps and it hurts. I think it helps because if you're not someone who believes in yourself very much, and as a younger person, I definitely didn't.
Younger, how many years?
Like maybe only 4 years ago.
Right.
Having someone who's constantly...
So like mid-20s?
Like mid-20s.
Okay.
Yeah, like 25. I'm still like, no, I'm not sure. Dave pushing me out into doing stuff and pushing me out in front of big audiences and pushing me out at big funder meetings.
Right. Made
me just realize, hey, everyone else is just figuring their shit out and I'm just trying to do it too. Might as well just, just go ahead and take a shot at it. Yeah. But on the same token, I think, or on the other side of the coin, I think it also can be, something where you may not have worked as hard for it in the world. You might not have been as hungry for it. So it Yeah, it's like privilege in a way. You don't really get to understand how you got Robitussin.
Thank you. Thanks, Pyre, for the germs. This ain't even like a sick cough. This is a cough coming.
Just instant.
Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
That's so funny. But yeah, I think it puts you in a place of privilege where you can't fully appreciate how easy it's been, because it's still friggin' hard. You're going to work every day. You're working 12 to 16 hours a day. Hopefully not every day, but you're sprinting for long periods of time.
Right.
And so it doesn't feel easy. But then you think, well, relatively speaking, actually, it can be.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
It makes me think of what's the saying? It says like, I want to have the confidence of a mediocre white guy or something. I can't remember what this is.
I don't know this quote.
It's something like about that, and the reason they said that is like when you don't necessarily. I don't know. I don't want to word this wrong.
You might, but go ahead.
But anyway, yeah,
fuck you do.
It's just about saying there's something to be said about having like this confidence that regardless of what your gender is, what your race is, whatever your situation is, you just think, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna pull it off.
Right.
The downside would obviously be if you have this inflated ego about it and then it gets slapped down and then you can't get back up.
Right.
But I think if you kind of have a healthy confidence where, okay, yeah, I got slapped down, but it doesn't mean that whatever. It means that you just don't get it. I'm still here. I'm still believing in myself. But like the idea that Dave has forced you to kind of come out of your own and believe in yourself because he believes in you is, I think, powerful.
Totally.
Can you explain what is the difference between a social enterprise and like a regular business?
Okay. So
you know that you're our social enterprise correspondent, by the way.
That's awesome. Can I go in the field and like interview people as
please.
like a social? Okay.
You and Dexter can go together. No, and I think this is important because again, like I'm someone who I met Lauren and Dave on the island at a random ass event where they were talking social enterprise, and I was like, oh, you understand that business is more than just profits. I want to hang with these people. And then you get past that point and it's like, all right, so like what is this thing? Because yeah, it's business, and like, yeah, it has to be business because people have to make money doing this thing, but it is bigger than that. And so like my thing is like, I hope that, and I want people to understand kind of more broadly, but even more specifically, like what is social enterprise? What does it mean? What is it about? How do we get it past this like term that people hear that they just are like, oh yeah, I heard of social enterprise, and just like really brush it off to the side, but like actually see it as a tool for like accomplishing their goals or reaching their business goals or reaching their personal goals as to what they want to accomplish in the world and to strangers, but also just like giving people an understanding of like, oh, there is this other way to do business that kind of sits between being a corporation and being a nonprofit. And like, as someone who kind of gets it, I'm like, okay, someone who gets it more than me, like, please explain it because I get it. And as someone who struggled with creating something that was bigger than dollars, I saw how frustrating that was. And I know that there's more people who are frustrated with, oh, I've got this really cool idea. I feel like it could be a business. I also feel like it should be more than just money. And I want to do something that soothes my soul as a human. And I personally think that's where social enterprise, it fits perfectly. But I think it's something that not a lot of people understand. So that's kind of why I'm like, ooh, tell us and share with us, like, how does this work? Because it's like, I feel like a lot of people who, if they can get a better understanding of social enterprise, they're like, oh, I want to do that. I think Duane and Art Pays Me is a perfect social enterprise. And I feel like there's a lot of businesses who, if they shifted their, I'm a business to, I'm a social enterprise, and just like understanding how they have to do things just a smidge differently.
Yeah.
But in the big picture can accomplish much more because they're tying like all like the shit that you make that you put on these pieces of clothing are there's social commentary behind them.
Well, he actually gets a good point. So I've been kind of tiptoeing around whether or not I want Art Paisley to be a social enterprise or not. In theory, I kind of do, but then at the same time, I'm still like, I don't know. But I definitely have moments where I've been talking to people and they're like, if you put this particular shirt out, you're going to alienate yourself from certain customers. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I want this message to be shared.
Right.
So that, when I hear you talk, makes me feel like, okay, maybe I am somewhat of a social enterprise. However, I'm not giving back in any way. So that's where I feel like,
right,
how do I give back?
Okay.
Ooh, yeah, Steph, we load you up with the knowledge. Go for it.
Okay, so let's start with the technical piece.
Okay.
The definition of a social enterprise is an organization that's formed to achieve a social, environmental, or cultural goal.
Social, environmental, or cultural goal.
So technically, if I'm achieving what I consider a cultural goal by sharing these messages, I am a social enterprise?
You can be. We can talk about it.
Okay.
The other piece of it is that 60% or more of your surpluses, profits, have to go back to serving the mission of your organization, not taken for personal wealth.
Okay.
And that is the Canadian definition by a government department called ISED, Innovation, Science and Economic Development, or something like that. And it is, further than that, a gray area. Because the next question, actually the first question that most people ask when they come to us is, what legal structure should I take? Like, should I be a for-profit? Like, can I be a for-profit? Should I be a non-profit? What do I do? And the answer is, well, it depends, because social enterprise doesn't have a legal structure. So you could be a non-profit, a cooperative, a non-profit cooperative, non-profit with charitable status. You could be, so many things. There's a new legislation type in Nova Scotia called community interest company. That qualifies. You could be that. CIC. And so it gets gray after that. And that's because, an issue to one person may be very deep-seated, may be very important, and may create social progress in a way that's meaningful to them. How do you peg that as not worthy of being a social enterprise or not? I think I'd rather be open about it. And because this movement is still relatively small, and because people are just starting out, let's start just saying, I'm a social enterprise. I'm going to put my flag in the sand, whatever.
Yeah.
And that means that I care more about the message I'm trying to convey or the work that I'm trying to do with a particular subset of people than it is to me to make money. That's not the purpose of doing this.
Right.
And of course, along the way, you're going to get lots of social washing, as they call it, like people claiming it because it's good for marketing. And the same thing happens in the environmental movement, of which they could be social enterprises. So all that stuff's going to happen. You just have to have faith in people and really believe that, on the whole, the majority of us, staking that claim are genuine and are trying to do something good. And it's freaking hard.
Yeah.
But we're going to try to rally around this idea because that's how we want to see the future to be. That's what we want for our children and want for ourselves, moving forward. And it's going to be messy.
Okay.
But until we figure out exactly what it needs to look like, we can make do with whatever it is now.
So how do you create a social enterprise versus create a traditional business?
The differences from a traditional business would be, first, the problem you're trying to solve. So in a traditional business, you've got your customer, and you probably are solving a problem for them, hopefully. If you're going to be successful, your product or service solves a problem for them.
When you say solving a problem, what does that mean?
Well, from a customer perspective, from a traditional business perspective, that could be, people aren't adequately brushing their teeth and they're getting cavities. And so,
what kind of toothpaste or toothbrushes or whatever can you create to solve the cavity problem?
Exactly. Maybe you got a better toothbrush innovation.
Right.
But on the social side of things, which is the part that you need to have for a social enterprise, the problem might be that in a particular population, I don't know who to call it just randomly as an example, but like you could say, Aboriginal persons living on reserve, this is a chronic problem that has other issues that are coming to play. And so you might be selling this toothbrush to anybody, and then you might also be giving that toothbrush, which is better, to people that need it, or selling it to government who are going to pay to have those people use it so that they can also have the benefits. I need an easier example.
So there's a piece where we're going to sell this product because we know that, certain groups need it. Certain people need it. Oh, I need a toothbrush. There's another piece where I know there's people in this community who need jobs who could build these toothbrushes. And those people then have jobs through the toothbrush building community or whoever this company who makes toothbrushes are.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
And then so there's those who need the toothbrushes, those who need jobs that then create the toothbrushes. Then is like a third kind of space, or are those kind of the two?
Yeah, there can be a third space. So you got it, nailed it. Do you have the social problem? Is it just that people need jobs? And then you've got your product or service. People want a better toothbrush. You might also have a third party, which is government. And they want to see perhaps that the first group of people get off social assistance or are somewhat less of a burden to government.
So if those people had teeth who were clean and proper, they wouldn't be getting denied. And this is a ridiculous example, but
analogy,
if they had nice teeth, they wouldn't be getting denied jobs for places where people needed nice teeth. I know it's a bad example, but it's I'm not going to hire this person because they've got their third tooth is missing and their whole shit is orange. But if you said, yeah, but if we can create jobs and we can manufacture toothbrushes in this community, the people who have fucked up teeth can get really
better
good teeth because, hold on, they can get better teeth because the toothbrushes are being created in this community. They can also access better toothbrushes. They can also access better jobs, the jobs that create the toothbrushes.
Yeah.
And so it's more than just we sold a toothbrush that cost 48 cents to make, but we sold it for $4 and we made $3.52 off of every toothbrush that we produced.
Right.
So that's a bit more about the social enterprise, social impact pieces. We can provide jobs for those who need the jobs in which the service that we're providing supports. So
I've got a really good real life example.
Go.
So Aki Energy it exists in, let me step it back. So there was a guy that was working in government in Manitoba. His name was Sean Looney. He was working in the Department of Energy for 25 years. And he was this isn't his direct quote, but he's I can't get any shit done in here. I got to get out of this and try to do something.
Right.
So he realized that there was a huge problem with incarceration rates for the Aboriginal population in Winnipeg. 60% of the prison population was Aboriginal, and Aboriginal people only comprised 12% of the population there. So something was up.
Right.
And what he realized was a lot of people were getting put into jail for petty crimes like theft, petty theft, minor drug possession, and then they were getting longer time in jail because they would be repeat offenders.
Right.
So when they got back out again, what do? Deal drugs or you steal because you can't get a job because you have a criminal record.
Right.
So he's what can I do with these people who just want a job so they can pay for what their family needs? But how can I make it also really work for government? Because he knew how it worked inside. So what he did is he made this thing called first build. And what it was a renovations company that hired previously incarcerated Aboriginal folk. And they would go to social housing in the city of Winnipeg that was already funded by government. And they would get hired by government to go fix that stuff up.
Oh, cool.
But in a lot of cases, a lot of those people who are getting employed there were the ones using the social housing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So not only do they care about, making their job really great because it's their community. Yeah. But they're getting a job that's paying them way above minimum wage. It's skilled labor. It's construction work labor that's going to give them a great track record to either continue working there or hopefully get a job elsewhere and get out of social housing entirely because they've got sustainable employment.
Right.
Not only that, he started doing it with energy retrofits as well. So they were upgrading like the toilets and the water systems and stuff in those buildings. So they were also saving the government and or the constituents, depending on whatever, money every time they used those facilities because they were less water intensive. So he was saving, the energy department a bunch of money. He was saving the social department lots of money. And he was doing this all without any government assistance except for the hiring of the contract, which they would have paid to any construction company.
Right.
And he's done like 6 different versions of that, which has been awesome. And so it's like win-win-win, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So do you register in some way for a tax benefit or something like that?
I don't think so. I don't actually know what Sean Loney's companies are in terms of their legal structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
But
think so.
You can't go to the government and say, like, I'm a social enterprise. Can you give me a tax benefit?
Oh, no, there's no tax benefits because there's no legal structure. There's no one set legal structure. So if you were a nonprofit, you could. Yeah. Just like any other nonprofit could. But then there are stipulations on how you can operate as a business.
I guess this is kind of digging into your question. Is like, how does somebody who wants to do business for good set themselves up as a social enterprise so they can benefit from caring about the things that they care about so that it reflects on their business or that it reflects on what it is they're doing or on their pockets. Like, listen, I care about hiring these people, or I don't want to buy fucking t-shirts from China. I would rather buy t-shirts made in Canada. Yeah. Guess what? It costs me way more money to buy t-shirts here in Canada than it does from China. How do I propel myself or identify myself as a business who cares about the things that are important to Canadian society beyond just being like, yeah, like some little Chinese kid didn't make these shirts. I want benefits because I'm not partaking in the Chinese labor market. But in theory, it's like, yeah, but what more do you care about? Because it's not just like getting your clothes made at maybe even or maybe it breaks down to it just as like, I care about my clothes being made locally. Maybe that's enough to be considered a social enterprise. I don't know these things. That's why I'm kind of like just putting them out there because it's like, listen, like, because we've talked about this. Like, I'm like, why is Art Paisley and Beasley, why are they not social enterprises? How do we give these gentlemen who are starting businesses the networks, tools, and resources to create a business that provides them with the kind of the extra stuff to propel them forward? Because that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, the designs speak for themselves. Yeah. If people saw Art Paisley designs and then they had some commentary behind them, they'd be like, oh shit, I want this. If they then were like, oh, this dude also supports and supplies the work
to
for
this, that, and the third. Yeah.
And then I'm like, yo, bro, that's a win. Like, H&M is selling bullshit for fucking less reasons. And I'm not saying you're going to really dig into H&M's market share, but it's like in the East Coast of Canada, if people are talking about really doing business from a merchandising and a clothing perspective from very specific reasons that matter to people, I'm like, dude, you can make you can propel yourself forward beyond it. Like, I love East Coast lifestyle, but it's just a fucking concept.
Oh yeah,
that encompasses the East Coast. So it's like, all right, great, but like the logos and the designs don't speak to anything beyond, oh, this is just some cool fucking logo that people on the East Coast would gravitate towards. Your fucking designs are like unceded territory. It's more than just Nova Scotia. It's just the fact that, like, yo, motherfuckers came here. This wasn't your shit. This is our shit. This shit is important to us. Here's why. That in itself is so important. And so that's why I'm like, how does this guy become a social entrepreneur? Because the concept behind his brand is like he should be a social entrepreneur because of why his brand is important. And it's someone like this one, I'm like, dude, you don't see it. And I'm like, I'm making video. I'm fucking selling videos to people. And in my brain, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I know it's because I want to help young people who can't make videos. And no, I'm not providing them with that opportunity now, but I'm thinking about it. And I think you're a person who, if you were like, yeah, I'm trying to do good for people in the future.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You could plan for it properly, you would do it. And I think that that's what it is. There's a lot of people who have businesses who want to do business for the right reasons and don't know how. And if they did, they would set their business up to do good for beyond just them. And I think that that's why it's important that you're here, Steph, is because it's like so many people are selling whatever the fuck they're selling because they can sell it. And if they had a bigger picture in mind, they would sell it with this bigger picture in mind. And they just don't know how to structure what it is that they're doing to support these random ass people that they don't even realize they're supporting. But we want to support them at the core of who we are. So that that's the part that for me, I'm like, how do we encourage people? How do we show people? How do we demonstrate that like social enterprise ways of life are more important than corporate ways of life or nonprofit ways of life or just like traditional means and business way of life? Because I've said this, if Art Pays Me was a social enterprise, the way that you could speak about Art Pays Me would leverage you to sell more shit to people who wouldn't buy from you otherwise.
This is true.
I think to finish off the definition part of it, I think how you can really differentiate social enterprise from the rest is that the resources that are going through that business are being used on a daily basis for the social good.
What is a resource?
Resource would be money. So like, Duane, for you, if you're to make money off of Art Pays Me sweatshirts, then how would the resources coming through your business be used to then benefit people in a way where they can make money selling their art? So you'd have to take it that extra step.
Right.
Because, people have messages on shirts all the time that are
for sure
pointless or whatever.
Some are positive.
Some are positive. Yeah.
Right.
I know that yours is very implicitly positive, but it's not different from other types until you're taking those resources and saying, I'm going to make it explicitly that. Because if you save them for later, for, after you've made your profits and you retire rich or whatever, then you're a philanthropist. Which is not exactly the same. Right. You know, of course. Right. And if you do it from a perspective of just sharing the message, you could just be seen as an entrepreneur. So there's that in between of doing it.
And I think that's the important part is understanding that, like, again, like when we went to Andy Hines' presentation, he was like, dude, you should be selling these shirts across the country. And I'm like, I don't disagree with you, but I feel like there's something missing. Because if that was the case, you'd be selling these fucking shirts across.
I would.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is I feel like there's something missing that's like, oh no, we're selling these for this reason. Like you're talking about unceded territory, and you want to sell a black clothing brand to Americans. And I'm like, oh, bro, like that. And in my mind, I'm like, that feels quote unquote easy. Like,
yeah. So you know what? I'll stop you right there. So that right there is partially where I've had my problems.
okay.
So I actually do now have a product on my site where percentage of it will be going towards animal shelter that my kids design.
Cool.
So there's that. But before I even had Arpazme, I had another brand called Big Letterati. And the first time I really started to think about the social side of it was I designed a shirt that said, "Don't worry, be gay." And I reached out to Halifax Pride at one point to say, look, I want to sell this at the Pride Parade. What do I got to do? They never responded. But now, since then, and whenever I put like my gender tee, or I think I re-released "Don't Worry, Be Gay" under Arpazme again, and then even like Unceded Territories, I'm not Aboriginal, so there's a part of me that feels like I shouldn't even be touching this subject unless I am giving a percentage of my proceeds away. So maybe that would be how I look at how I do it. Like, could I say maybe not every design that I produce I give a percentage away, but certain ones I could give like 60% of it away and still be in that social enterprise?
Yeah, like I think, and for something for me, is in particular, and like in developing TTM as a social enterprise, I'm like, how do I give back? How is what I'm doing? How can I give people an opportunity to do something with it? So that's why I look at workshops. That's why I'm like, dude, you can teach graphic design. Yeah, you're a fucking graphic designer. Is there a way for you to teach graphic design to youth? So that piece is part of your, like, because that's my social mandate, providing Atlantic Canadian youth, sub 35-year-olds in Atlantic Canada, with the networks, tools, and resources, very broad, to find work, to basically not be poor through content creation. Content creation is anything that involves content. Video, photography, graphic design, podcasting, whatever. So like I dress it up to be broad enough to be like,
yeah, it could be a lot of things.
All right, who needs help doing anything that I care about? Because if I can teach a workshop on storytelling, then that's providing networks, tools, and resources to those who want to find work being storytellers.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm interested in the Arpazme social enterprise conversation, because I'm like, this guy's doing what he's doing with social enterprise intentions.
Totally.
Yeah.
Not even realizing.
No, not consciously.
It's just about how is Arpazme more intentional with what they do. Excuse me. To accomplish Arpazme goals. And that's why I'm curious is like, how would CGS, how would SEI be like, you know what? Okay. Without being like, here's free fucking consulting advice.
Happy to give it.
But I'm curious how someone who's creating clothing, creating photography, who's creating videos that are like, what I'm making is beyond the reason in which I'm selling it.
Right.
How do I leverage the fact that, because when I was on PEI, I fought the same fight. I'm selling healthy meals because PEI has one of the highest heart disease, heart attack, and heart issues in the country.
Wow.
Why? Because you're selling people on Burger Love and Nacho Week. Let's sell you on getting fat. No, let's sell you on being healthy. What are the bigger issues? Heart disease and diabetes. Okay. In my mind, I'm like, okay, how do I combat heart disease and diabetes? Because that's the bigger picture. the clothes you're making are not, oh shit, you need a shirt to wear or a hoodie because it's cold. It's like, how do I put on you the things that are important so that you can understand what's important? And I think that's what it is. It's like, how do people who are thinking about things that matter beyond their customer's basic need to then serve them with something that they're like, when you talk about, I got a lot of repeat art pays me customers. I'm not curious why. I know why. People say, oh, this is more than art. This is more than clothes. I'm gonna buy this shirt. I'm gonna buy that hoodie. I'm gonna buy that hat. I'm gonna buy this whatever because it's more than buy this shirt and wear some clothes when you walk down the street. Yeah. So my question is, especially as someone who's looking into export, who's understanding the growth and this is more like artists being paid is a fucking global phenomenon.
But you know what? I'll just keep it.
Do it.
A buck.
Do it.
The problem is, and I'll use Moments and Culture as a primary example. That was a huge marketing expense for me to promote my brand. I spent a lot of money on product up front. I have to make that money back. So I'm not making all of it back.
Right.
Just keeping it real.
But that's because your primary focus of your business is selling clothes.
Well, yes. But I have the consultancy part as well with Glitterati Communications. But one could also argue that because I have a day job, I don't get to devote enough time to building all the other things. And then if I did, then maybe I would be able to make more money.
Right.
I'm not giving up my day job anytime soon. So it's how do I squeeze another hour out of the day to find out how do I make money?
Or how do you reposition the hours that you're spending
to get to be more productive?
Because that's what I think it is. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who are doing what we're doing, and we have a lot of reasons for doing what we're doing, and it's a lot of I care about this. This means a lot to me. My social enterprise exists because I've seen black kids, black males who have never seen success other than Jay-Z and LeBron James. And I'm like, I saw Jay-Z and LeBron James, but I was smart enough to know, success can come outside of sports and entertainment. So I can study these people and take the things that exist outside of what the normal person is just going to kind of just like skim over and just we'll go with that. And I'm like, you mean LeBron, you went to the Lakers because you wanted to be in LA? You have a friend named Maverick Carter who runs your fucking scouting agency, and so you're scouting and signing athletes who aren't going to talk, but you can leverage the fact that you've signed A, B, and C big athlete. So when you go to ESPN, you say, we do a talk radio show. We've already signed the 6 biggest athletes in the NBA. We're not guaranteeing them on the show, but I'm LeBron James. You're going to pay attention because of this. We're not LeBron James. So that's how I'm like, okay, I get it, because I'm like, I've studied the greats and I see how they're doing it, but I'm like, I don't have LeBron James leverage. I can't go to HBO and be like, we're going to do Change in Their podcast in Common Good Solutions and you're going to pay us $30,000 to record 5 episodes and we're going to sell it to you. Like, no. But in theory, it's like, that's the same thing LeBron James is doing. So that's why I'm like, how do we take what we're already doing that in a lot of ways is working to then put what's working on steroids, take what's not working and ditch it, and build our businesses with social ways of thinking.
So I think, Duane, my question for you would be, does Art Pays Me have a mission? Like an explicit statement that says why you exist?
Yeah, I did at one point. No, it's more like about it's changed to more of my about page. But if I could read it, that would be easier. It used to be about like sharing, these social issue things, but then I changed it. I'm always changing it, by the way.
Yeah. As you grow and change, you'll of course pivot, all that good stuff. I ask while you're looking for it because one of the things we do with our clients when we're talking about their mission, which is one of the first things we do, is how is that going to make the world different? So like, how can you make your mission statement or your impact statement, impactful in that it's going to make a change socially, culturally, or environmentally?
Okay.
I can't even remember Common Good's like specific one, but it's something about, creating, oh God, I can't remember it. You're going to kill me now. Something about creating a better world through helping more businesses thrive. So our explicit purpose is to help social enterprises get better at what they do and more of them to start so that we can see the social, environmental, and cultural change that we want to see happen in the world collectively better, because we're just equipping people with more skills.
So the idea is that the world becomes a better place because there are more social enterprises and you're helping that happen.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's mine. So through graphic apparel and products, our page celebrates the people who use creativity in business, art, and social good. So that's an excerpt from my about page, but that's more or less, I would say, the mission.
So who is the audience there that you're impacting? Like for us, it's social enterprise business owners.
Yeah.
Who would be the subject in that one?
So the subject is twofold. My main target market would be fellow artists, fellow creative people. It's more like a rally cry for them. Like art pays me should pay, art should pay you, that sort of thing. But then the other aspect of it is the people who would receive said social messages. So they are the secondary part of people who maybe not necessarily be artists, but they agree with those particular messages and want to express those messages and be proud and unapologetic about expressing those messages. But then when it comes out to that point that you made of, okay, so there are messages that are important to me, but I could be a racist or whatever the case may be and say, oh, this message is important to me, put it on my shirt. So it's all subjective at the end of the day.
It's fair, yeah. But I think there's like tangible things you can say about that though, like that people through career counseling in high school are definitely discouraged away from going into the arts.
Yes.
Parents want their kids to be okay, and financially stable, so they discourage their kids from going into the arts. I was one of those kids, and so I think like there's a stat you could probably see there, like how many kids in high school have been asked what they want to do and say art, and how many of them actually go into artistic endeavors,
Right.
Good luck.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's the whole, probably a stat that could be found on, like, what do people think about art? Like, whether or not they can make money from it. So we know that people totally do.
Yeah.
And we can measure that. We can even measure average, what people make in different art industries. And some of them make a killing, like graphic design, entertainment.
Right.
But then what's the perception? What's the public perception?
Yeah.
So if you could change, if that's your mission to change those stats,
yes, I would argue that. Yeah, and maybe I gotta meet with you guys, man. Stop fucking around.
And I think, but seriously, I think it's beyond like, oh, I can do good.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but what are the 2 to 3 to 4 metrics in which you use to prove
exactly that's what I mean.
What you're doing is working, and I don't think it's beyond what we think. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh, I want to create jobs for all these artistic people.
And I absolutely do. That's the other thing. I want to create jobs. Well, I want Art Pays Me to be a job creating entity. Not necessarily for people outside, but I want to.
Do you know how hard it is to create jobs for people? And
No,
that's
don't go for it.
no, because I think that we say it,
but it's in theory.
it's fucking hard.
That's right.
Like, we're gonna do something to create a job for someone. No, I'm gonna create something that provides the networks, tools, and resources for you to find a job. And I think that there's a lot of language. I think that's the difference. And even within the social enterprise community, like the language in which we use, it's like outside of the social enterprise community and like the general business community that are like, what the fuck does that even mean? I don't know what that means. So then you've got people in the social enterprise community using language that business people don't get, which I guarantee you the general public artistic person doesn't fucking get. So I think what it is there's something about, here's what I want to create. Here's what. Here's why. Here's what I'm willing to do about it. Because it comes down to it. Like the workshop that I did at a blog jam. I did that workshop at blog jam because I'm like, I need to start creating workshops for youth. So youth can understand the power in their stories.
And that's your social give back?
That's my social mission, providing networks, tools, and resources for Atlantic Canadian youth provide Atlantic Canadian youth with networks, tools, and resources to find work through content creation. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, networks, tools, and resources, because that's what it comes down to. It's like, what am I actually giving you?
Yeah.
So you can find a job. And so in my mind, I'm like, if I can teach you how to tell your story better, or to understand the value of your story, what is that worth?
Well, I guess for me, when I'm saying create job, I'm thinking of it from a selfish perspective.
Selfish meaning what?
Selfish meaning, as my shit expands, I'm gonna need people to work for me.
Here's the thing. Brielle, how many times have I said to you, I have got projects that I could get a photographer for.
Right.
I want to be able to say, hey, photographer, I'm going to charge this extra $200-$300 so I can bring him on. You know how many times the photographer really can afford, whoever it is can really afford to pay that? Not often. So that's why I'm like, okay, so what can you, because that's what I realized, what can I as a storyteller, I can sit in a room of 72 old ladies and say, we're going to talk about storytelling. Some of them paid money to go to this conference. I don't get that money. All right, you went to how many sessions in 3 days? You paid how much to stay here? Okay, let's think about that. Maybe you paid $15 to come to this one session. 15 times 72. Oh, okay. Maybe I don't get 72 people at my first experience, but I'm like, people value this. What is art? Dwayne Jones could tell a 3-part workshop series on what is art, how to turn art into something that's monetizable, how to monetize the thing that you turned into art.
Yeah, the problem is Dwayne doesn't have time to do that unless Dwayne's getting paid.
But my point is that I feel like art can pay Dwayne.
Yeah.
And I feel like the story of art pays me's legacy continues when some of the people who buy your shit, who follow you on social media, and who are like, how the fuck does this guy sell sweaters? Well, shit, I'm art. I tie people up with ropes. That's art. What is Dwayne doing that in that system of selling art can I take to then kind of combine in my package of art sales and sell it? Because that's what I think it is. And that's what I think our responsibility is, which I think is fucking hard. It's a tough sell. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, I make videos. I made a living off making videos. How do I tell other people how to make videos?
I also like to be a bit of a devil's advocate too.
Do it.
When it comes to employing people.
Yeah.
Because there's this there's this zeitgeist, there's this sentiment that entrepreneurs hold, especially new entrepreneurs, when they're like, I gotta struggle with this for years, and I gotta take this all on, and I gotta make it work, and before I hire someone, or struggle is just the way that it is. And there are, especially in Canada, there are so many resources available for startup entrepreneurs when it comes for hiring people on grants. Especially people who've been previously disadvantaged when it comes to getting like free business support, like whether it's through our incubator, virtually, like, you pay at the end, but you get help up front. And a whole slew of other support systems that are out there to sort of help you plan and sell the right things. So that you're getting to a point of revenue that you can employ people. It's totally doable. And if you want it to be a goal,
that's my for 100% a goal.
And I think that's it's annoying that I'm like, that part is important for us to say. Is like, if you needed somebody who was pressing start stop on that camera,
exactly,
to document that the art pays me and the changing the narrative story are real, and they can help support you in the building of your business, that shit is important.
Yes, for sure.
And so I think that because you're someone who won't ask for help.
Yeah, but I do realize I need it, which is why I'm saying I need to hire people.
And this is beautiful. This is the purpose. This is because I watched you up until you were like, I'm gonna ask Par for help, and I'm like, good, I'm gonna ask Par for all the help, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it. And she helped you at the fashion show. She's been helping on the podcast ever since, and I'm like, I'm not gonna feel bad about asking people who want help, because people want to help. So there's also people who want to help, who are better than Par, who have the skills that are like, no, like, you could pay me for this. I'm good at this. I could design for you, sir. You should be paying me for that. And so I think there's a barrier, and there's a lane, and there's this weird in between of like, we should ask people who want to do the thing that they are really good at. We should ask them to do it, and we shouldn't feel bad about if the first few times they do. Like, Diddy went and got cheesecake for free, bro, or whoever he asked. So it's like, we have to be willing to be okay with people doing something to a certain extent for free because they care, but also at the same time understanding like we can't expect people to do things for free forever because they're worth more than that. And so I think that social enterprise is that like weird in between that can happen.
I just have a hard time with it because of the name of my brand, Art Pays Me, of accepting free stuff for people. Because
for sure.
Like, the part of the reason it started was because I was getting taken advantage of doing work for free or for really low. So to accept Par's help or anybody's help for free, it just like, it eats at me, right? So it's like I feel like I'm doing the same thing, that I'm repeating the cycle of, and now I kind of get it because there was a lot of small business owners that I was working with in the beginning who they didn't have the resources to pay me. And they just, and I needed the portfolio pieces. So at the end of the day, it actually worked out better than I thought it did, but I did get frustrated because I felt at some point, okay, I'm ready to get paid for this shit now.
That's what we do at CGS. We never have unpaid internships unless it's explicitly, a professional development thing they have to do for work. They're for school. There's no way they can get paid. They're not allowed to. Then would provide that opportunity. But otherwise, it's $20.10 an hour for our staff. And that's just something we put in the sand, and then from there is like work it out from there. If we don't have enough money to pay somebody for that, when we can't, but if we are hiring someone, then that's what they get at the minimum.
So like, anyway, I mean, I guess this is more about when I actually meet with you guys, but it's like, how do I get from that point of expanding? Like, how do I grow from here? How do I help and give back? Because I want to give back, but I still have a credit card to pay off because of all the money I spent.
Question before you go: I get it, but what does your give back look like? Like, what does that mean?
Well, I don't have the time because I have a family. It can't be time anymore. It can't. I wish it could be time. It just can't be. So I've gotten to that point where I've accepted that, and I feel horrible sometimes because people would just like want me to come and do things or say X, Y, Z or speak at this, and I can at times, but I have a full-time job and I have a family, and it's like I just can't do it. I'd rather just pay I'd rather just give you a donation of money, but then I don't have the money either. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I do? But I want to give back. I just don't know how to.
Like maybe, getting contracts, and then when you get that contract, if you have enough. Oh, sorry, Terrence.
No, go ahead.
Everyone's getting sick in here. If you like, for example, that's how we work, is if we get contracts, then we know we need this many man hours and these contracts and this type of skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hire for this like set contract time, these extra people. And then if we get another contract, hopefully they can stay on and they can continue. But at least for that like period of time, we know that we can have these other people helping you out. And maybe your cut on that contract small, like maybe personally you take 10% or something, and most of it goes to paying people. But with the idea that you're building reputation and you're going to get more and more contracts. I'm thinking probably more glitterati for you because
So the glitterati side, like for sure, it's like I want them, for instance, one of the things that I really started Be Glitterati for was I wanted Nike as a client. And I was like, look, I developed the brand. Look at this portfolio piece of all the shit I designed.
Right.
Then I kind of just lost track of that and really fell in love with the actual idea of having a brand.
Right.
And wanted to be my own Nike. But that is essentially it. Like, this brand was supposed to be a portfolio piece for me to show other people, look, this is what I can do because y'all won't hire me. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
How do you get back to that? If you've kind of veered off of it.
It's time again. So, but I did hit up a designer last year that I was thinking he would be like the one that does my work as Glitterati, so I could focus on Art Pays Me and still keep the contracts flowing and all that stuff. Right. And I figured that'd be the way to grow, but I just haven't really had contracts. So
what cares? What matters more to you, Be Glitterati or Art Pays Me?
Art Pays Me, because it's more of an art project and more like it's the social aspect of it. It has more of that truth that I want to give. Whereas Glitterati Communications, it got me frustrated because I was spending so much time designing other people's things and building other people's brands and ideas. And I was like, a lot of times they didn't want to go with my ideas, and I always felt like I had better ideas. So I just applied all those ideas that got rejected to my own shit. And I'm trying to prove them wrong, whoever they are. But in reality, I get paid way more doing the graphic design contracts. You know what I mean? Like, I can get a $3,000 contract and be good for a little while, whereas it's a grind to make $3,000 at Art Pays Me. $35 a shirt.
Okay, so here's where I love you're getting to, like, the crux of what I'm talking about is, as someone who sold $7 chicken wraps, and then I'm selling $1,000 a minute video. So I get the polarization of like, I gotta sell this to make this because I'm a business and like people gotta buy shit, but like also my time and my energy and my effort is worth this. How do I find the in between and the middle ground to say I'm willing to give up my time and effort and energy for this other thing because I know there's a bigger picture within that, but also I've got 2 kids and a wife that like we need to provide for. And I guess that's kind of where I'm, Steph, and I'm curious, like, what does that look like from a social entrepreneur's perspective of like, I want to do good, I want to do great, but I also got shit I got to deal with. Yeah.
And it kind of makes you empathize a little bit with, the cutthroat business person who's making 1,000 units of something in China to sell, because that's the only way they can make it work financially, right?
Yeah.
But with social enterprise, there are many different ways to cut it. So you can So one way social enterprises do it is they think about different business streams and how they're taking in different amounts of money.
Okay.
So this is, on a more developed basis, not when you're starting out, but like they might have an asset, like a building, and then they rent out different space of that, of which they rent a part of it. That's kind of what Common Good does. Yeah. So they got space rental as one of the revenue streams. Doesn't really have that much to do with their mission, but it's bringing in some money. Okay. Then maybe their tenants are mission related. Then they've got perhaps a sheltered workshop or employment-based social enterprise where they're employing people to, like DASC in Dartmouth Adult Services Center, make buttons for political campaigns and for fun. Those people are actually paid a stipend, so they're not actually... I hope Kathy, if she hears this, I'm not wrong. But in most of those cases, that money that they make is less than minimum wage because it's really, really hard to afford the production of those buttons and sell them to actual clients if everyone is getting paid a full wage. Okay. Now, what a lot of groups do is they end up getting social funding to cover the rest of that cost. So they either get the government to help top up that wage, so it is a living wage, $15 to $20 an hour, and or they also get social funding to get extra people on hand to help so that the production can stay up so they can pay people enough, not have a ton of staff, yada, yada. Okay. And then there could be a slew of other enterprises that they do. So it's just sort of thinking about how you break up the work that you do. So perhaps one is paying for the other. Yeah, right. But there are so many different ways to slice it because you can also just think about, can I use affiliate marketing? Are there other people who have a greater reach out there who can sell my stuff for me? Is there a celebrity? I know we talked about that before, but is there someone, if they're wearing my shirt, that it's going to give me a lot of visibility?
Working on that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it got lost in the mail. Anyway, so you finish your story.
But yeah, there's it's more just about creative thinking in business than anything. Like if you do the straight up math on, how many units of sweatshirts you'd have to sell in order to make enough money to get by. I don't know what that math would be, but maybe it would be nearly impossible. Maybe it'd be 100,000 sweatshirts or 300,000 sweatshirts. But if you just tweaked it a little bit and either, you charge more for the sweatshirts or you found another way to bring in side revenue as you're building that visibility, you can make it work. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that's kind of the question that I'm trying to get people to think about in terms of social enterprise being this thing we've heard about and like it's important and it makes sense, but also like how to actually use this kind of system that's been created to actually be beneficial to people because we know about it, but like, how does it benefit me? I think is the most important question. So that's kind of why I'm putting this question on you, Duane.
Well, it feels selfish though. It feels like
great.
I don't want it to benefit me.
But you're an artist. That's the problem. That's the difference. Is you're an artistic person. If you weren't an artistic person, you were a business person, you wouldn't feel bad.
No, I'd just be I know, but that's the thing. I feel like if you want to do social enterprise, you should just do it because you want to be a good person, right? Not because you want something from it. If it makes sense.
I argue that it's got to totally make sense. And I want to argue that everybody's self-interested.
Of course.
Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, the guy got it right. Like everyone has to act in their self-interest, especially if they're at a point where they need to make enough money for their family.
You can't help other people if you can't help yourself.
Totally.
Hey, you said
totally. And I think you can have it both ways. You can have it where a person within limits imposed on them by their organization structure can take home, 40% profits for all the awesome work they did. But at the end of the day, the majority of that is supporting something else, supporting another community. So I like social enterprise in that sense because it's a perfect balance. If you decide to have a for-profit social enterprise structure, you can have both.
Can you fit our me into this weird conundrum?
Oh, I absolutely could, for sure. What I've been battling with is the idea Stephanie kind of mentioned about like doing it later and then you're a philanthropist. So like, you know what I mean? Like I keep on saying later, but when is later going to come? I know later never comes as a business owner. You always say later and people always say, oh, you should just... This is one thing I'm dealing with. Why you have to do this right now? I'm like, because right now is when the idea is burning and I got to do it. Otherwise, I'm not fucking doing it. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. Anyway, so I digress.
I love it.
But that's the thing. It's like, I keep saying later, but you know, is giving back something I care about, or is it not? And I need to figure that out. Yeah. And I think it is. So
I think it is. Yeah. I don't know how your give back exists. I don't know if it's through teaching. I don't know if it's through monetary compensation. I don't know what it looks like, but I feel like I'll just put this out there. If there was a 3 to 4 to 5 part artistic workshop on how diverse artists were making money off their art. Sorry, everybody, if I'm giving away secrets, but like that's a workshop that I feel like people would purchase.
Absolutely, and I'd be interested in talking to people about it. Yeah, if I didn't have my day job, then a lot of this shit wouldn't even be an issue. To be honest.
That's true.
It's just reality. Yeah, it's just the hours in the day are just not there for me to do certain things.
Right.
Yeah,
but I would love to donate like a certain amount of my day every day to, or even on my week or whatever, to just have an open office hours for young designers or whatever the case may be.
I think that's what we need. And I don't know if you have the time or the capability to do it, but I generally feel, because that's what I feel like. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I feel like, fuck, I could teach someone how to just figure out themselves and maneuver that into a business versus here's how to make a video and this comes first and this comes second and here's what happens at the end and this, that, and the third. Like I feel like there's hey, listen, creative person who can muster up some artistic ability within themselves. Here's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You've done it. I've done it.
Yeah.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a ton of power within the showing and sharing of what has already been done by those who are doing it, so that those who haven't done it can see it and be like, oh shit, you live like a block and a half up and down from me. You work down at the daycare. You're a business person who's got a successful business with a poster back there that hangs on the wall. Who are you, Pez? I'm trying to learn what you're doing because I make videos better than you. I want some kid to come up to me and tell me, listen, excuse me, I make better videos than you. Can you teach me how to sell them because I'm better than you? And I'd be like, God damn, I've been waiting for somebody to tell me that their shit was hotter than mine because I think I'm the best. And that shouldn't last forever. So, and I think there should be tons of people who are like, my art's better than yours, Duane.
Well, yeah, the dude that I've been talking to, I mean, he just graduated from NASCO. He's fucking dope. Yeah. You know, I would argue he's better than me for sure.
Right.
And I want him to work for me. I'm not scared.
Yeah.
But
good for you.
I just don't. Anyway, it's got to happen. You know, I just got to figure out how to make it work.
So people need social enterprise business development help, or thinking about social enterprise, they would come where, Steph?
Common Good Solutions at 5557 Kennard Street, 2nd floor.
So that's what do we do here exactly? So people can get a better understanding of like what happens if they walk into 557 Kennard.
We do everything social enterprise development. So that could mean you are having trouble accessing money to start your social enterprise, whether that be selling your product or service or getting social funding. So we can help there. We can help you think through your business ideas. So if you're coming with just an idea, we can walk you through all the steps. What problem are you trying to solve for what we call beneficiaries, the people you're trying to help? What problem are you solving for your customers? And all the steps between, you know, building a product or service, validating it in the market, and then growing it. So to break that down into like actual things that we offer, we do training in person, online. We do consulting for bigger projects, and we have an incubator, of which Terrence is part.
I'm a part of the incubator with Terrence Telemedia. I have 5 years of incubator services, which provides monthly coaching, online video tutorials to show me how to figure out the shit that I can't figure out. What else, Steph? Is that it?
Events. There's supposed to be mentor matching. What else am I missing? I think that's it. Yeah, training, coaching, and events.
If I got problems, I can call somebody and we can work out the issues of my business, because that's the whole purpose of this. Mm-hmm. So, okay, that's dope. And that's why I've been like, Duane, come talk to Common Good Solutions, because they can help you. I don't know how, but come to us. Okay. And I think that art, I really, and I talk to people all the time, like the concept of art paying a person is the fucking purpose of artistry.
Yeah.
I wish more people were like, yo, my fucking art needs to pay me.
Yeah, period.
Because it is period. Goddamn. Steph, if they're looking for CGS, SEI, Steph P, where do they find you?
commongoodsolutions.ca for all the stuff I just mentioned, and for the online training, socialenterpriseinstitute.co.
That's where I was all of Scotland in September. Mm-hmm. And then I'm working on some videos. It's Kyler, who was actually just here, Kyler Crawford. We shot a social finance
impact
course.
Measurement for social finance.
Shot that today, so that'll come out soon.
How do people watch these?
They can go on our website, socialenterpriseinstitute.co, and you can sign up for courses there. Okay. You pay for them, but there are some funders that are available too. So if you want them for free, there's coupons and access codes and stuff you can get if you are eligible.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. You can learn how to be a social entrepreneur if you actually care enough to try.
I gotta schedule a meeting or something with y'all.
Yes, that'd be so much fun.
Duane needs to just come in and just talk.
Come talk to us over coffee.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Just figure it out. And just be like, hey, what are my options?
Okay. What do I need to bring with me?
If you have any financial statements, you can bring them in.
Okay.
An idea of who your market is and your mission, what you're trying to achieve. But we ask you all the business development questions when you come in. You'll probably know them off the top.
So what is
and if not, we'll talk about it.
So what is a mission, just like for those who are like, oh, I want to start a business, but like, I don't know what the fucking mission is. Like, what are some of the things that people need to come to CGS with to be able to move forward?
My biggest thing, and the thing that nobody ever comes to us with, is what freaking problem they're actually trying to solve. Okay. Usually what happens is people come to us and they're like, oh my God, I have this amazing idea. It's going to change the world. It's so good. And then they tell us, and it may not have any grounding in reality. And dreaming is amazing. And I definitely am not trying to discourage anyone from that. But you need to understand, what actual problem out there, social, environmental, or cultural, exists that I'm going to be addressing with this idea. And how do I know it's actually a problem? Like, have I talked to anybody experiencing this problem? And do I really understand it? And the next piece is, have you tried selling anything to a customer out there? So if you do have an idea for a product or service, do you have proof?
Yeah, social proof.
Yeah, exactly. Social proof, people following you, anyone just pulled out their credit card and made a purchase. Yeah. And then we can go from there.
Okay.
But even with just an idea, we can start,
Duane, you got an idea?
Oh, I got ideas.
Yeah, of course he does.
Passion first.
Passion over profit, baby. Mm-hmm. A passion
and profit.
Hey,
I got one sleeve with those.
See, that's what it is. Irpacey.com, CGS. Steph, send us out. If people want to know more about Common Good Solutions, SEI, if they were to go onto the interweb, where would they find any of this information?
I'd suggest looking us up on Facebook, because Common Good Solutions has a really great page. We post all of our client stuff and what they're up to and any events. And we've got some great videos that profile social enterprise. So if you're looking for that, please go there. And then on the Social Enterprise Institute side, we've got this whole international online movement of people that we've brought together on this Facebook group called Social Shifters. Okay. So search us up. I think we're like 350 now, and it's only been a couple months. Okay. And people all over the world trying to do social good and trying to figure out how to do it and not feel alone. So check us out.
Yeah. All right, Paisley, where do they find you at, Papa?
rpaisley.com, at rpaisley on Twitter and Instagram, and
artbasement.com.
Oh, you know what? Pinterest. You can get me on Pinterest.
Yeah, he's a Pinterest man.
And Tumblr, if you like the naked pictures. That's what people go for.
Yeah, we're not on Tumblr yet. I'll have to check that out.
I don't have any naked pictures on there.
Apparently, there's nudes on the Tumblr.
There's lots of nudes on there.
So check out Tumblr for the nudes if the big art pays me. If you haven't found it. Watch CTM on Facebook, Instagram, TerranceTaylorMedia.com, Terrence J. Taylor on Instagram. Steph, is there anything social enterprise related you want to let us? Because I'm sure if like we sat here, we could keep talking social enterprise, but I don't want to I just want you to make sure that anything that's social enterprise related that people hear before we get out of here.
There are over 62,000 social enterprises in the UK. They're really good at measuring. There's over 2 million in India. 2 million organizations. Yeah.
Shout out.
And there are over 3,000 in Nova Scotia with a population of only 1 million.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Scotia.
Yeah, shout out to Scotia. We're really fast. Growing.
So Nova Scotia has a high rate of social enterprise development. Why do you think that is?
I think it has something to do with the cooperative movement that happened earlier in the last century.
Okay.
So if you guys know the Coady Institute at St. Francis Xavier University, Moses Coady and a couple other people were like the founders of the cooperative movement, which was trying to put power back in the hands of people living in certain communities where one industry existed there.
Okay.
So if the coal mine left, if the pulp mill left, they were jobless.
Yeah.
And they said, well, how can this be? Like, we have the ability to do our own businesses. Let's start our own agricultural stuff and our own shops and our own stations and make this work. And they did. So I think we've got this long-standing history of people taking matters into their own hands and saying, we're just going to do it. And they do.
Interesting.
Social enterprise life. Staff, send us the fuck out of the show.
How do I do that?
I don't know. You can tell Duane. You can tell everybody Duane's rubbing his eyes.
Duane's tired.
Duane's
that the
tired.
show is
Well
over,
tired.
and that Steph has told us all she knows about social entrepreneurship.
But not really.
Yeah,
Talk to me. Yeah.
I have a feeling she knows a lot more.
No, she does know a lot more. So if you have any questions about social enterprise, CGS, Common Good Solutions. .com.
I just want to thank Terrence because nobody knows what Terrence does behind the scenes, but he makes everything that we do possible. Like all of our 90 plus courses on the Social Enterprise Institute site, Terrence recently shot probably half of them in like the course of, 4 months, and travel around Scotland shooting an amazing profile of social enterprises. They're going to be called Social Shifters on YouTube. You can actually see some of them now from a previous contract. But yeah, he's bringing light and, awareness to the social enterprise sector. And it's so beautiful.
Nice.
And amazing. So, and now we're here in Common Good and he's doing his side hustle and 9:00 at night on a Monday night, to keep everything together. So
we're all here
props
getting
to you.
shit done.
Yeah.
I fucking thank you all for coming.
Yes.
That's all. Duane's ready to take his headphones off. We out of this motherfucker.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see y'all next week. Deucey.